Have you ever watched your entire reality fall apart right in front of your eyes? Imagine the person you care about suddenly disappearing, telling you they're moving to another country, and every single circumstance screaming that it's over. Most people would accept defeat. They would tell themselves, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. But what if I told you that one person refused to accept that reality, and within just a few weeks, everything changed in the most unexpected way? Today's story is one of the clearest examples of why the outer world doesn't always have the final say. Stay until the end, because the lessons from this success story could completely change the way you look at manifestation forever. Welcome back to Real Life Manifestations, the channel where we share powerful real-life manifestation stories and timeless lessons inspired by Neville Goddard and the law of assumption. Every story featured here comes from real people who experienced incredible transformations by changing themselves first. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's get into today's fascinating success story. The person sharing this experience begins with a powerful statement that immediately captures the essence of what they learned through this journey. They say that if there's one lesson everyone needs to understand, it's this: stop accepting the reality you don't want. According to them, the biggest mistake people make is treating their current circumstances as permanent facts instead of temporary reflections of old assumptions. Their story became living proof of why that mindset matters. About 3 weeks before sharing this success story, they had posted on a manifestation forum in complete desperation. They were emotionally devastated because of what had happened with their specific person, often called an SB in the manifestation community. Everything had seemed to be going well until, without any warning, the person they had been talking to suddenly ghosted them. There was no explanation at first. The silence was painful, confusing, and completely unexpected. Eventually, they finally received an answer, but it wasn't the one they wanted to hear. Their SB explained that he was moving to another country. That single sentence felt like everything was collapsing. To make things even harder, the two of them had already made plans to spend time together. Those plans suddenly felt meaningless because now it seemed like he was preparing to leave for good. After that conversation, they didn't speak for 2 entire weeks. Those 2 weeks became one of the most emotionally difficult periods they had experienced. They admit they completely spiraled. They cried. They felt overwhelmed. They wanted to scream their lungs out because the thought of losing him was unbearable. Every emotion told them to give up, and every circumstance in the physical world seemed to confirm that the relationship was coming to an end. From the perspective of the 3D world, everything pointed in one direction. He was leaving. They weren't talking anymore. The distance between them was growing. Every visible piece of evidence suggested the story was over. Most people would have accepted those circumstances as the truth. Most people would have concluded that nothing could be done. But this person made a decision that changed everything. Instead of accepting what the physical world was showing them, they decided they were no longer willing to let circumstances dictate the ending of their story. They began repeating a new internal conversation. They firmly told themselves, there is absolutely no way this ends like this. Then they continued reinforcing the new assumption. He can't leave. He has to stay. These weren't words they repeated once or twice. They became the reality they chose to identify with, regardless of everything happening around them. Every night before falling asleep, they also practiced a simple act of imagination. As they drifted into sleep, they imagined hearing their SB say one very specific sentence. I'm not moving anymore. That was the only scene they needed. They didn't try dozens of different manifestation techniques. They didn't spend hours searching for the perfect method. They simply returned to that imaginal scene and accepted it internally before going to sleep. Time passed. Then something unexpected happened. The night before they were originally supposed to meet, their phone lit up with a message. It was their SB. Out of nowhere, he reached out and asked if they were still meeting the next day. Naturally, they replied, "Yes, if you still want to." What happened next left them stunned. Their SB casually told them that he wasn't moving anymore. The exact sentence they had been imagining before falling asleep had now appeared in their physical reality. Still trying to understand what had happened, they asked him what had changed. His answer was incredibly simple. "It isn't really what I wanted, so I'm staying." Just like that, the entire situation had transformed. The circumstances that had once looked completely hopeless had reversed themselves. The person who seemed certain about moving to another country had changed his decision and decided to stay instead. For the person sharing this story, this wasn't luck or coincidence. It was confirmation that reality had reflected the assumption they consistently accepted instead of the circumstances they initially saw. They also reflected on something that happened after their original post. Someone had commented that they shouldn't want to stop their SB from moving because he deserved the opportunity to discover himself, evolve, and pursue his own path. The commenter suggested that if someone tried to influence their own life choices, they wouldn't appreciate it either. There were several similar opinions shared as well. However, the storyteller explains that those ideas didn't resonate with their understanding of manifestation. From their perspective, they don't believe that an SB has independent free will in relation to their assumptions, nor do they believe reality is fixed. They believe that reality continuously reshapes itself to mirror dominant assumptions, and that the only thing that usually prevents manifestation is our own resistance, fear, and attachment to appearances. Whether or not you personally agree with that philosophy, the important lesson they want people to take away is much simpler. Don't allow temporary circumstances to become permanent conclusions in your mind. The outer world is always changing. The 3D is always reflecting previous assumptions. If you continue accepting appearances as final, you continue recreating those same appearances. They point out how terrible their circumstances actually looked. Their SB had announced he was leaving the country. Communication had completely stopped. Every visible sign suggested things were getting worse, not better. There wasn't a single logical reason to believe everything would suddenly reverse itself. Yet it did. That experience completely changed the way they viewed manifestation. Another lesson they passionately share is about the overwhelming amount of manifestation content people consume every day. According to them, many people become trapped searching for the perfect technique. They constantly ask questions like, which method works the fastest? Should I affirm all day? Should I visualize? Should I script? Should I use SATs? They believe this endless search often creates more doubt than confidence. Their conclusion is that there isn't one magical technique guaranteed to manifest your desires. Instead, it's your belief that gives any technique its effectiveness. To make this point memorable, they use a humorous example. They say that if someone genuinely believed jumping around with a strawberry in their mouth would bring them their desire, then that unusual action would work, not because there's anything inherently magical about strawberries, but because belief is what creates the result. The technique itself isn't the power. Your assumption is. Your conviction is. Your acceptance is. Those are the real forces behind manifestation. By the time they shared this success story, they weren't sitting at home wondering if it had worked. They weren't still waiting for movement. They weren't hopping for a miracle. They were actually getting ready to go spend time with the very person who had once said he was leaving another country. The plans they thought had been destroyed were now happening exactly as they had originally hoped. Looking back, they realized the biggest transformation wasn't simply that their SB stayed. The greatest transformation happened within themselves. The moment they stopped accepting the unwanted version of reality and committed to the reality they preferred, everything around them eventually rearranged to match that inner decision. This story serves as a reminder that circumstances can appear incredibly convincing, Sometimes they seem impossible to overcome. Sometimes every piece of evidence points in the opposite direction of what you desire. But if there's one thing this experience demonstrates, it's that today's circumstances don't necessarily determine tomorrow's outcome. Whether your desire involves a specific person, a dream career, financial abundance, improved health, or any other goal, the principle remains the same. The version of reality you consistently accept within yourself often becomes the version you eventually experience outside yourself. Instead of allowing fear, doubt, or temporary appearances to write the ending of your story, choose the ending you truly want and persist in that assumption. As always, it's important to remember that this is one individual's personal manifestation experience and reflects their own beliefs and interpretation of the events. Everyone's journey is unique, and you should approach manifestation in a way that aligns with your own values and understanding. If this story inspired you or reminded you not to let your current circumstances define your future, make sure to leave a comment below and share what lessons stood out to you the most. If you've experienced your own incredible manifestation success story, we'd love to hear it. You can also submit your story using the Google form linked in the description. You might even see it featured in a future video on this channel. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Real Life Manifestations, and turn on notifications so you never miss another inspiring real-life manifestation story. Until next time, remember, your current reality is only a snapshot of past assumptions, not the limit of what's possible. Keep believing, keep persisting, and we'll see you in the next video.